happened?
I don't know.
When did this start?
About an hour ago when I called you.
Stop talking about me!
Has she done anything else besides throw food?
She got a knife in her room.
Come here!
No! Don't leave!
So one of the biggest mistakes that we make right away is we walk into already stressful situations. So from a parent perspective, I want you to always be thinking about what were the circumstances that led up to the episode, because these episodes happen. You know, there's going to be food throwing, yelling, cussing, things getting torn up. It's inevitable, especially when parenting traumatized children. But it's after the experience. Ask yourself, what could I have done differently? Now in this scene, the parent and the child are already yelling. So they're already mad, already escalated. The coach comes in and he starts to focus on the parent. Well, that's not all bad. The problem is when you walk into a stressful situation and you're stressed and you're creating more stress, you're just adding stress to the whole environment. It's like adding fuel to a flame. So instead of doing that, as a coach walking into a stressful situation, first thing you've got to do is breathe. Slow your energy down. Walk in and lend support. Maybe you put a hand on the parent's back in a very non-threatening way. Or maybe you slowly and gently just step right in between them. You can turn your back to the child, face the parent, make eye contact, and breathe. As soon as you do that, you're taking control of the whole environment with your own regulation. You're slowing it all down. And then from that point, you can move the parent out of the environment, out of the situation, to interrupt the negative feedback loop. That's going to be a much faster and more effective way to reduce the stress in the environment as opposed to trying to approach the child, because the child is already completely overwhelmed. Now, after you've gotten the parent out of the environment, as a coach, you can come back and then just say to the child, "Are you okay?" And then start helping them to clean up. See, the first thing we typically want to do is then we want to dive into our old traditional practices of, well, you made this mess, you need to clean it up. Well, a child who is stressed out, a child who is acting out, is a child who is stressed out, who is a child who is regressed. So an acting out child is a stressed out child, is a regressed child. So the child could be 10, but if they're stressed and they're acting out, they are more likely emotionally 2 or 3. So would you ask your 2 or 3-year-old to clean up a big mess, a huge mess they had just made? You wouldn't do that. So you have to reflect on that. Remember, the goal is to pull the child up out of that state of dysregulation. Get them thinking more clearly, get their short-term memory turned back on. And so helping them clean up is just modeling. It's relationship, it's co-regulation, and it's helping establish yourself as a safe person. And then later you can go and process with the parent. And then once all the stress has died down, maybe you can talk to both the parent and the child.
Whoa, what's going on? Lena, are you okay?
No!
Lena, Carrie and I are gonna take a step out, okay? What happened?
I don't know.
Okay, is there anything else that I should know?
She has a knife in her room.
Okay, so here's what we'll do. Are you ready to talk now?
Whatever.
How are you feeling?
I'm mad. I feel stuck.
I'm so sorry you feel that way. I understand. I felt that way too in similar situations.
Is there anything we can do for you? Would you like a water?
Sure.
I'll get it. I'm so sorry you feel that way. You want to sit down and talk?
Sure.
So in this moment of processing and trying to work through the scenario, and the parent says she has a knife in her room, that is typically very threatening. So that is a real invitation for us to become stressed and afraid. And then what we do from that place of stress and fears, we usually escalate into more control. I like to help parents understand that when we feel stressed, especially around misbehaviors, we do three things. We try to control, we try to suppress, or we try to change. So we try to control the behavior in some way to stop it. We try to suppress it to get it to slow down, or we try to change it, trying to get the child to do something different. And all those three things take us out of the present moment and keep us from being in relationship with the child. So in this scene, when the parent said to the child, "How are you feeling? Is everything okay?" And the child talked about being stuck, and the parent actually empathized. That's all that needs to happen. Because from that place, the parent's going to just have to just say easily, "Okay, when you get a chance, would you bring that knife back down? Or can I go get that knife? Because I'm going to do dishes." And you make the knife a non-event. You don't have to get scared and blow it all out of proportion and call the cavalry in, because that just makes it worse, and that just makes the child feel worse. A lot of times children just do extreme things like that to stir up the situation because they're already stressed. They're already stirred up, and they're not thinking clearly. And sometimes they just feel scared. Believe it or not, why else would someone grab a knife and take it to their room? If they didn't feel scared, they didn't feel threatened. Of course, they're most likely not going to use it, but it is a safety device. And so we have to just remember that. But it's building the relationship, creating the opportunity for the relationship, the empathy, the communication, that makes everything else unfold in a positive way.